payback time.
It's always a good day when I get to review a holy grail toy. And this figure, my friends, is the Transformers Star Wars Crossovers Magnaguard. I am so happy I finally have this. Ever since Thew Adams, Baratuzaru, that was his original name, ever since he did his review on this figure years and years and years ago, I have wanted it very badly. And I have looked all over for it. And I've never really thought to order it online. I always kind of wanted to wait for it to come to me, you know, and I waited so long. I never found it. And I was just in the antique mall the other day, and I was walking through the aisles with the glass cabinets, and I see an old couple just standing in front of a cabinet that I saw had some toys in it. And I kind of peeked into it a little bit while they're still just standing there looking at it forever. And I noticed it. I saw it. It was still in the box. I did open it already. I couldn't wait. And I just stared at it. My eyes widened and I'm like, oh my God, that's the Magnaguard. And I just kept staring at it and I'm like, move, people! I kept waiting for them to move, and it was a very old couple that just kept lingering in front of the case. And when they finally moved, I rushed over and I'm like, how much is it? How much is it? Please tell me it's cheap. It was $40. A little high. Not a bad price. Definitely a good deal, because on eBay it's pretty much always more expensive than that unless you luck out. But it was a good deal, not a great deal. It was a pretty fair deal, given the fact that this guy came out all the way in 2008, and the market for the Transformers Star Wars crossovers is a little iffy when it comes to availability and the fact that a lot of people never bothered to collect these, so there's not a lot out in the collector market. I stared at it, and I even called my brother, and I'm like, man, I found it. I finally found the Magnaguard. Should I? It's $40. And he's like, well, 40 is cheaper than it is on eBay. And this is some collecting advice for all of you. This is something that my brother tells me all the time, and it's great. If you have the money and you're willing to spend that price on it next week, then why not just spend that money on it today? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because I had spent a lot of money at the toy department right before. So I wasn't feeling super spendy anymore. If I hadn't gotten anything at the toy department, which I always do, but if I'd only spent a little bit, I would have just instantly snatched it. But I'm talking getting this made the day's price tag end at $300. So I got it. Very happy to have it. Sorry if that rambling was not for you. If I see anyone in the comments, this is the time when the review actually starts. Guess what? It's not starting yet, because we have a product pamphlet to look through. If you want to see this toy, here's the time. I'm going to tell you. I just gotta be silly. But yes, I always gotta look at these product pamphlets. I might have already looked at this one, but I don't care. Every time I get a figure, I always got to check out the product pamphlet. I do think I've looked at this one more recently. Yeah, I think I have. It's got the Clone Wars Y-Wing, which I don't have, which is really cool. It's got one of those early 2009 Clone Wars waves. I think I've got all those Clone Wars figures. I also think I have all those figures right there. And I think I have all those figures. I don't have any of those vehicles, though. Out of all those figures, Rumsleg is a personal favorite of mine. Worm Loathsome's pretty cool, but I love 4A7. 4A7's really cool. Shirtless Darth Maul, that's my favorite Darth Maul figure. Alrighty, flipping it around. There's my boy, Magnaguard Starfighter. When did I show off this pamphlet? I don't remember what I got. I still don't have that Captain Rex electronic helmet. I definitely want to get that someday. Not really worried about the Nerf, or that's just like an electronic clone blaster. Not really worried about that. I forgot there's a remote control R2-D2. I do have that Captain Rex, that turbo tank. Oh man, still need to do a video on that. Still do. I'm very sorry it's taken me so long to do it, but don't worry, it's going to happen. I love that Bark Speeder and clone. Oddly enough, that shows the 2008 helmet sculpt, even though that figure was a 2009 helmet sculpt. I don't have a cancel. I'm going to get the one with Yoda from Revenge of the Sith. I see it everywhere. I just always put it off. Again, I should probably just listen to my brother and just go ahead and get it. Why wouldn't I? All right, there's the pamphlet. Now let us begin discussing the Clone Wars Magnaguard Starfighter. This toy is fantastic. Normally with these Transformers crossovers videos, it's always kind of like there's some good qualities, but it's not very great. No, this one is just really good. It's just really good. It does have a lot of parts forming. If you're not very familiar with transformers and you don't really know what that means, you have to pull pieces off and put them on in a different spot to transform it. And this guy has a lot of pieces. I counted. There are 10 components you can easily lose on this guy. So if you really want one complete, I would just go ahead and get one carded, because the fact that there are 10 pieces, there is gun, missile, shoulder pad, thing, shoulder pad, thing, gun, missile. There's a lot. There is a lot. But honestly, this is actually my very first representation of the Magnaguard Starfighter in plastic form for my collection, and it looks very fantastic. And you may be wondering, did Hasbro repaint this into Cad Bane's Xanadu Blood? They did. So if you like Cad Bane, you can get it in Cad Bane colors. But me personally, I love Magnaguards. They're my all-time favorite Star Wars droid. I'm very happy to have this. And it's a very nice vehicle. It does have landing gear on the bottom. You can see it doesn't really have a lot of like exposed robot bits. It does have a lot of screws on the bottom, and you can see some ball joints right there, but it's a transformer. Come on. The top looks very nice and clean. It does have missiles that fire, obviously, but you know how I feel about missiles. I just like keeping those in there. And I also don't like firing them too, because it might damage the springs. So yeah, very nice starship mode. Looking very cool. Starfighter mode, sorry. I know some people hear Starship with Star Wars, and they're like, this isn't Star Trek, why are you calling it a starship? Even though I think some vehicles are called starships still in Star Wars, right? I know it's more like Starfighter, you know, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, let's transform it. So let's pull everything off. So this is very clearly going to turn into a gun. So there's one gun. And this is also going to turn into a gun. So there's another gun. And then up front, we pull off these things that will end up going on the shoulders. So we'll pull those off. And if you get this guy incomplete, this is what you're going to be left with for the vehicle mode. You're just going to be left with a dopey looking, almost looks armless, weird starfighter. Anyways, let's keep going. So from here, we want to like twist the leg. We don't really need to twist that part. The part we need to twist is the thigh to get that untabbed. There we go. So we twist the thigh, and then we pull the legs down on a slider, and then we kind of rotate it around and get it positioned for the robot mode configuration. Straighten the legs, rotate the knees, take the knee pads and mold them. Yeah, that's English. Mold them up. And then we take the foot, move that forward, and then we take this part, and you can leave it flat if you want like extra stability with your posing, but you're supposed to like fold it up all the way just to get it out of your way. And then what's left, we go up top here, and first we untab the shoulders from the top, then we fold that down, tab that in. And then I really like how the arms tuck in, because the hands tuck into empty spaces on the inside. So they use all of the space that is pretty much available on this toy, and it's very, very nice. We then move the shoulders down, and the elbows are kind of awkward with how they're kind of at an angle, but you still get good articulation out of them. Not great articulation, but good articulation. Then last but not least, for the physical transformation, we will take this part, move it down, and it exposes our robot mode head. And very fittingly, because it's a Magnaguard, he has a robotic head, so it works a lot better than a lot of the other Transformers crossovers. I think it works a lot better. So, yeah, proportionally he looks a little awkward right now, but that's because we haven't put on the shoulder pads. Once we put the shoulder pads on, I do think it greatly improves the proportions and the dynamic of this figure. I believe you can put them on either side. I think so. But let me reference the instructions, because I'm not 100%. Alright, yeah, I'm right. So the side with the kind of ribbing right there is the side you see on the front. So we're going to put that shoulder pad there, and then the shoulder pad here. And I think the shoulder pads look really cool. I really do like the shoulder pads. So those attach right up there. And then we can take the guns, and the hands are surprisingly soft for a Transformer figure. So it's very nice, because you can very easily just kind of slot them in, and you don't have to worry about breaking the fingers or anything. He actually has softer hands. So here we go. Here is the Star Wars Transformers crossovers Magnaguard in his very cool looking robot mode. And I love this. I think it looks fantastic. One thing I adore about it the most is that it doesn't really feel it necessary to have like fake robot mode parts. The only thing I'm really missing on the Magnaguard design is the red dot in the middle of the chest. That's the only thing I'm missing. But again, the cockpit looks really cool right there. And the fact that this mold was reused for the Xanadu Blood, it would look kind of odd if Cad Bane had like a circle on his chest. So I think this robot mode design is very effective. Like, it has that slenderness and it has that sleekness of a Magnaguard. So I think it's very successful in that. I do think the dual guns are very cool. I feel like those are kind of more meant for the Cad Bane. You know, like Cad Bane, you're going to give these dual guns. The Magnaguards are known for their electro staffs. And if you're very observant, you may notice that there is the electro staff. The electro staff is here. Unfortunately, we do have to remove one gun, and there is no robot mode storage for this gun. At least nothing that I have found. It doesn't like tab into these little things. I don't really think it slots in there. I did actually look at the instructions, and it seems like there is no actual robot mode storage for this gun. You could probably use a rubber band and like stick it back there. Like, you could probably do that, but I wish they would have had the foresight to like actually have it tab in or something. But yeah, one just has to stay off to the side, because on his shoulders, all of these little turrets, all these little cannons from the ship mode turn into the electro staff. So if you really want to get this guy complete with the electro staff and everything, I highly recommend you get it mint in package, because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a struggle to have a complete Magnaguard when, again, there are 10 components to this guy that you could very easily not have included with a loose example of this toy. So we've got the electro staff all built up, and it looks very nice. I very much like it. And again, because the hands are soft, pretty easy to just slot it in. Very nice and secure. And I do enjoy that the shoulder pads do stay on pretty securely. It does kind of limit how far up you can move the shoulders. If you want to move in further up, you would have to remove those shoulder pads. But I think they look really cool. I really like the look. The articulation's not bad. It's, you know, it is a 2008 Transformers crossover for Star Wars, so it's not perfect. But it still has a decent amount of posability. I really do enjoy it. And I, as a Transformers and Star Wars fan, have really been wanting to get into this line more, and the Magnaguard has been the one I've wanted the most, by far. It is gorgeous, and I think it is very, very cool. To run over the articulation, it has a swivel at the head. It has kind of like a hinge and swivel system at the shoulders, removing that shoulder pad right there. You can see it does move up a little bit further without the shoulder pad. I personally like the look of the shoulder pad. To me, it kind of almost gives a hint of like the robes, just by adding a little bit more bulk up by the arms. The elbows are on a swivel. They're kind of on a slider too for the transformation. But they're on a swivel, and they're on a hinge as well. The hinge is a little less than 90 degrees, but you can see it still works. It still functions. It's just kind of awkward. The wrists are on a swivel and a hinge for transformation, so you get a lot of wrist articulation out of that. Nothing at the waist, just for the transformation. You get ball joints at the hips that move out pretty far, further than the Black Series one, from what I've seen. Kind of makes you think, why couldn't they just design it like this? He has swivels at the knees as well as hinges at the knees. He does also have like the side hinge for the transformation, but I'm not going to worry about that. And the ankles can move up and down, and again, you can flip these down. And it actually does benefit for like some additional posing, having those be able to move. Kind of awkward interjection, but I meant to do size comparisons for those that can't really gauge the size given how I didn't compare it to anything. Here it is with a Black Series Clone Trooper. So that gives you a size comparison between a 6-inch action figure. Here it is with a Vintage Collection Clone Trooper. And here it is with a pretty standard modern day... Why is his elbow so loose? What happened to his elbow? Anyways, pretty standard modern deluxe class Transformer. So you can see he's kind of like a smaller modern Voyager. So the fact that I only spent $5 above a modern Voyager price, it's not the hardest sting in the world. It could have been more expensive. So overall, this is a Holy Grail Transformers toy that I'm very happy I got. Some people may say, why is this a Holy Grail? I mean, to me, a Holy Grail would be like G1 Fortress Maximus or G1 Overlord, or, you know, it's Holy Grails are different for everybody. To me, what a Holy Grail is, it is a toy that you've been chasing for a very, very long time that you finally get. That is what a Holy Grail is to me. It doesn't matter the rarity, the price. A Holy Grail can be like a little tiny part that you're missing. Like for me, a Holy Grail is completing my Dark of the Moon Ultimate Optimus by finding his left shoulder pad. That's a Holy Grail thing for me. Like I've already gotten so many Holy Grails throughout the years, like the huge ones, like the Big Jack Specific 31-inch Commander Cody. That was my Holy Grail for the longest time. I've gotten so many Holy Grails, and I really do enjoy how there's always that next thing to get. Like, I just got the Dark of the Moon, like, repaint, Voyager, breakdown, Megatron, BotCon one. That was a Holy Grail for a long time. I love the differences between everybody's Holy Grails. Like, you know, someone's Holy Grail could be something that someone just has sitting in a drawer that they don't care about anymore. You know, it's one man's trash is another man's treasure. Some people may look at this and think this is an awful looking Transformer, and I would strongly disagree. I think it's very nice and successful, but others like me, I love this thing, and it was my Holy Grail for the longest time. My only real complaints, I'm not the biggest fan of the parts forming, but it's okay. But my biggest complaint is that I wish there was a place to store the second gun. That's my biggest complaint, because I will have him with the Electrostaff and the gun. But if I just need him like on the shelf with all the parts, I'll probably just have the Electrostaff stored up in the shoulders. I'll just have to do what I have to do. It is a very fun, awesome toy. And again, there is the Cadmain version of the Xanadu Blood. I don't think it has a hat, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time since I've seen that. You have Google, I have Google. You can look it up. It is very cool that exists, though. I'd love to get the actual Hasbro vehicle of the Magnaguard Starfighter. I never have. And with me loving Magnaguards, I have every single Hasbro 3 3/4-inch Magnaguard, and I think I did a video on that if you want to check it out. I'm very happy to have this. I've yet to get the Black Series one. I think I will at some point, but I don't know, man. I'm not stressing about it. It doesn't seem like a very good toy. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this guy down in the comments below. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.